Hi, welcome to Get Known, Be Seen WebTV. I'm Trish Springsteen, your host, and it's my absolute pleasure and delight to bring to you my guest for this session, Stacey Huish. Hi, Stacey. Welcome to Get Known, Be Seen WebTV.
Hi, Trish, and thanks for having me here. And hello and welcome to all the listeners out there today.
Awesome. We're going to have a great conversation with Stacey. But before we do, let's find out a little bit more about who Stacey is. Now, Stacey Huish knew deep inside something was very wrong. After seeing 8 doctors and 3 hospitals and getting no answers, Stacey decided to do something about it. Taking matters into her own hands, Stacey has gone from living in constant crippling pain to living a totally pain-free life. Today, Stacey is changing the lives of women everywhere, so every woman can be purely and authentic herself again. This is one of the 1,000 ripple effects Stacey is creating across the world. And I love this quote from Stacey. Success is about how many people lived a better life because you lived. So let's find out how Stacey has lived and how she's changing lives for many, many people. Welcome to the show, Stacey.
Hello, Trish, and thank you for having me here.
So, Stacey, I think we need to share a little bit more. I mean, 8 doctors, 3 hospitals. What was actually wrong? What was the issue than the one that's been really driving you in your long journey now?
Okay. Every time I went to see a doctor, all I could tell them is that I had really bad pelvic pain, severe pelvic pain to the point it was I couldn't walk, I couldn't sit in a chair, I could not stand up. Okay. And I would go to them and I would say, there's something severely wrong with me. And they would ask all the questions, where's the pain? And I would tell them it's in the pelvic region. And they would say to me, oh, that's just women's issues. We can't do anything about that. Go home, put a hot water bottle on yourself, take some Panadol. Don't bother us.
Not a response that you actually want to get, is it? It's not very helpful.
No, it's not.
So, Stacey, rather than going home and putting the hot water bottle on, what did you do?
Okay, Trish, I got to a point after seeing all these doctors and being told that it's just women's issues, being told that there was nothing wrong with me, being told that it was all up in my head and I was making up this pain. I was faking it because I was a drug seeker, telling me that it was all in my head and the only doctor who could help me was a psychiatrist. I got fed up. I had enough, and enough is enough. I knew something was terribly, terribly wrong with me, and I had to find out what it was. So Trish, what I did is I actually went to the medical schools and I went to the medical library and I started borrowing books, all the medical books. Originally, I had asked if I could actually borrow them out and the librarian said no, because I wasn't actually an enrolled student. I had to be enrolled studying to be a doctor or a nurse to be able to borrow them. But they could stop me from borrowing books, but what they can't stop me from doing is learning. So I turn up to the library every single day. I would sit down in the reference section with the books that I had found on the shelf. And now these are all the exact same medical books that doctors use to train to become a doctor, right? They're exactly the same books. And I started reading these books. The first thing I had to do was locate all the different medical issues or medical conditions that had pelvic pain. And I started making a list of all of those. And then after I got my list of a few of them, I started researching each medical condition very thoroughly, one by one, going, do I have this? Do the symptoms match? No, the symptoms do not match. Okay, so it's not this medical condition. Do the symptoms match this one? It matches one of the symptoms or 2 of the symptoms. No, but it's not all of the symptoms, right? And I'd go through and I go through and I go through all my list, keep going through the medical conditions Now, this is months of research. This is not hours. This is months of research here, right? And I got to a point where I found this medical condition called endometriosis. And I didn't know what it was. I still didn't know what it was at this point. And I started researching the symptoms. Pelvic pain, yes. Vomiting, yes. Pain in the legs, yes. And all the other symptoms that go along with this. And I was getting yeses and yes and yes and yes and yes and yes. Oh my God, all the symptoms match. Does it affect the hormones? Yes, it does. Does it affect the bowel? Yes, it does, right? So all of the symptoms started matching and I went, this is what I've got. This is what I actually have. I've got endometriosis. So then I started asking questions like, how can I confirm that I've got endometriosis? Like, what tests can be done to confirm this? And you can have an ultrasound done, an MRI done, or what they call a laparoscopy procedure, which is a small camera inserted into your abdomen, and they go and have a little bit of a look around. And I had the procedures done, and it was confirmed that I had endometriosis. They could definitely see the endometrial tissues, definitely on the linings, right? And then I started researching what is endometriosis. Now I know I've got this thing. I had to find out what is it, right? Then after I worked out what it was, which is the endometrial tissue growing on the outside of the organs instead of on the inside of the uterus where it belongs, right? Then I started asking questions, what causes endometriosis? How does it affect the hormones? How does it affect the bowel? What causes it to grow on the outside of the organs? What causes it to affect the hormones? So every time I researched more questions, I was always looking for what is the root cause? What causes that, right? And there's a whole bunch of medical jargon in here. And before I go into this, Trish, I actually have to say, I've got to make a little bit of a disclaimer here. I'm not a doctor, all right? I do not give any medical advice whatsoever. And if anybody out there is listening, if you are in pain, please go and see a trained professional, and get the help that you need. Today's interview with you, Trish, is all I'm doing is sharing my story, sharing my journey of what I went through and how I helped myself heal back to normal again. Okay.
Absolutely.
So, oh yeah. I've just got to put that in there.
Yeah. We need that in there. We don't want people coming in and saying, well, Stacey told us. This is her journey, people. And if you take something away from her journey, I think that's what Stacey wants you to be able to do. So yeah, we got to where you have started looking into the root causes.
Yes, exactly. So every time I'm doing my research, I'm asking the question, what causes that? So what causes the liver not to be able to metabolize estrogen properly? What causes the estrogen to be too high and the progesterone to be too low? What causes the hormones to become out of balance, right? And throughout my research, what I kept coming down to is nutritional deficiencies. So if the liver can't process the estrogen properly, it's because it's missing a vitamin or a mineral. Oh, okay, well, then I had to work out what vitamins and minerals it was needing. Then I had to work out how much and stuff. The same thing, if the hormones are not working properly because there's a vitamin or a mineral missing from the ovaries, right? Usually iodine and zinc. And so then I went to the doctor, I got some blood tests done. I said, can I please have all my vitamin and mineral levels checked? I just want to check what they are, where they're at, are they at a healthy level or are not a healthy level? And I got all my blood tests done. It came back, I was severely vitamin deficient. And I started asking the question, what causes the body to become vitamin deficient? I eat good food, I eat plenty of salads, lots of spinach, lots of lettuce, cucumbers, tomatoes, apples, bananas, lots of fresh fruit. I was eating all the right food, but my body was not absorbing nutrients. Okay, so what causes the body not to absorb nutrients? Oh, vitamin deficiencies. So this was a bit of a circle here, right? Yeah. The vitamin deficiencies, and there was gluten. Gluten was actually causing irritable bowel, was it called leaky gut syndrome? The gluten actually eats the inside of the intestinal linings, which causes little holes, which means all the vitamins were leaking out. So all the vitamins were being eaten properly, but they were leaking out before they got to where they should have been going. And that was caused from the gluten. And I went, oh, okay, all right, well, need to stop eating that. So I found a whole bunch of food I had to stop eating. I fixed all my vitamin deficiencies by understanding what vitamins I was deficient in, and then researching how much vitamin do I need to take to correct a vitamin deficiency. Okay, and I got all the correct levels, and it takes approximately a year and a half, 18 months to 2 years to correct a vitamin deficiency properly, right? So it was a long journey. And once the vitamin deficiencies are corrected, then the organs start working properly. The liver starts working properly. The kidneys start working properly. I had to repair the intestinal tract. I had to repair all of the leaky gut and everything like that. So that takes, 2 to 3 years just to do that. The liver itself was damaged because it wasn't processing estrogen properly. It takes 4 years to repair a liver back to 100% functionality. And just out of curiosity, for those that want to know, the liver performs 500 functions in the body every day. That liver does a lot of work every 24 hours, 500 jobs every day. It gets up in the morning, goes, right, what's my first task? Oh, 500 tasks later, I've got to start again now. Right? Now, if your liver's not functioning properly, it needs vitamins and minerals to do 500 functions a day. It's important. And for those that really want to know, estrogen performs 300 functions a day in your body as well. Estrogen is actually important, but you need to have the good estrogen, not the bad estrogen. There are 2 types, okay? So I started correcting all of this stuff with nutrition. Lots and lots of vitamins, lots of minerals, healing the liver back to normality again, healing the leaky gut, getting everything back on track and getting everything working again. Stop eating all the foods that cause inflammation. So I had to stop eating gluten. I had to stop eating dairy. I had to stop eating canola oil, sunflower oil. I can only eat olive oil or avocado oil. That's it. That's it. Olive oil or avocado oil. And so I started going through the supermarkets and going, well, and reading every label, all the food labels. And every food has got canola oil in it. Bread rolls, potato salad, coleslaw, all the olives and sun-dried tomatoes sitting up there in the delicatessen, all sitting in canola oil. And after I'd asked the ladies what the ingredients were for the olives and the sun-dried tomatoes, and they read out canola oil to me, I actually stood in the supermarket at that delicatessen. I burst into tears. And I was just like, I can never buy food from a supermarket ever again. That's the end, right? The food has to be fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, and grass-fed meat. And that's it. That's all you can have. Can't have food from a tin can. Can't have food from plastic containers. And gluten, just so people know, is in everything. Gluten is in barbecue sauce. It's in tomato salsa. It's in ice cream. So you can't eat ice cream either because it's full of gluten. Custard, yogurt, all these things have got gluten in them, right? And it's hidden. It's all hidden. And it's usually hidden under a number called 1440 or 1442. So if you read the ingredients and it doesn't have the word gluten, but it's got the number 1440, 1442, you go, oh, leave you on the shelf. So I went to the health food store. I walked into the health food store, started reading all the labels of these so-called health foods. Canola oil, right? Leave that on the shelf. Canola oil, leave that on the shelf. All these foods in the health food store that say, I'm gluten-free, I'm dairy-free, I'm sugar-free, I'm this-free, are full of canola oil. You actually have to leave them on the shelf because canola oil is actually causing all the inflammation in your liver. It's very, very harmful to your body. So I walked out of the health food store empty-handed. Can't go to a health food store. Where do I go? I can go to a farmer's market and I can go to a farmer and buy direct off the farm. And that's about all I can do now is buy direct off the farm, straight from the farmer. No more supermarkets, no more health food stores because you just can't buy from them. Can't buy from the bakery because it's all gluten. So it was a massive learning curve in how much food had gluten, how much food had canola oil, inflammatory ingredients and everything. So I had to stop eating it. I stopped eating all of that, corrected the nutritional deficiencies, and hormones started correcting themselves because the body was working again. The body starts working when it's got correct nutrition.
Awesome. And that that which you've just shared with us took how long? It was a long journey.
Oh, Trish, just to find out what I had, which was the endometriosis. It took just over 3 months of research just to find out that I had endometriosis. Then it was about 1.5 years, 2 years of research just to find out nutrition, ingredients, inflammation, and all the other stuff that I'm not going to go into the medical jargon of it because it is medical jargon. Okay. So I'm just talking very general here. And it took a good 1.5 to 2 years of just solid research, understanding, reading the books, finding out what each organ of the body needed. What does the liver need to function properly? What does the kidneys need to function properly? What does the heart need? What does the blood need? What does the intestines need? What does the bowel need? Right? Which vitamins and minerals do each of these organs need? Right now, all this inflammation stuff in food, I had to understand food. I had to understand ingredients. And then going through every ingredient on the shelf in the supermarket, that took a while and I just gave up. I said, no more now. That's it. So I've got a philosophy. If you can pick it off a tree or dig it out of the ground, don't eat it because it's not food, right? Seriously.
Yeah. Too many chemicals in it.
Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah.
So that's many, many, many years. So we've come to the point where you've gone through all of this research. You've gone through and figured out what you can and can't eat, and you are on that regime. Let me ask a very important question. Did it fix you?
Yes, it does. Because I was living in constant crippling pain. I couldn't walk. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't sit in a chair. Panadol doesn't work. Painkillers don't work. Anti-inflammatories don't work. They don't touch the pain. It doesn't make any difference. I stopped eating all the wrong food, started eating all the right food, fixed all the nutrition, got the vitamin levels back up and going. Within 4 weeks of starting this journey, the pain had reduced by 80%.
Awesome.
Gone. And after a good 2 years of doing this, I've got no pain. There's not even an ounce of pain. I go, did I have a period this month? Oh, I did. Oh, okay. Didn't feel it. There was no pain.
Awesome.
There is no disruption to my life anymore. I can work 7 days a week. I don't have to take time off anymore. I can actually do what I'm here to do. And Trish, this comes to our really important part. Did you want to ask me that question?
So where are you going from here, and what is it you're doing with the knowledge that you have learnt so far? What do you want to do with it? Who do you want to reach?
So Trish, as you know, I've got a little bit of a project going on called 1,000 Ripple Effects. And what I want to do is I want to reach out to 176 million women out there in the entire world who struggle with and suffer from endometriosis pain and say, guys, there is an answer out there. All right. This is what I have personally done to heal myself, and it's up to you to take full responsibility for yourself. If your doctors are not giving you the answers and they're just, giving you answers like they gave to me, then take responsibility. Read some medical books, understand nutrition, understand vitamins and minerals, understand the food that you're eating, and do what I've done. Okay. One of the core things that I was actually doing was far infrared heat treatments. Mm-hmm. Now, far infrared heat is a pain-free drug. It's drug-free pain relief. I'll get that right. Drug-free pain relief, right? So it's using far infrared heat, which penetrates deep into your cells, the DNA of your cells, and actually heals the cell from the inside out. Awesome. It is very, very useful to know this. And I do have a website. Yep. Can I mention it right here?
Yes. Yep, mention here.
All right. Again. So anybody that wants to know more about all of this, please go to my website. It's www.1000rippleeffects.com/endometriosis. and you'll be able to read my whole story. I put the whole story up on that website, and you can read from beginning to end of what I went through and all the research I did and things like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is going to be, sorry?
The link will be below here as well.
Oh, so listen, see, Trish is on the ball. She's got a link happening here down at the bottom of the screen. For all of those, you can just click on that. And what I want to do, Trish, is I want to make this one of the 1,000 ripple effects that I start creating out there in the world. All right. So let's help as many women as we possibly can say goodbye to endometriosis pain forever.
Awesome. And I think that is an absolutely awesome project that you're involved in, because pain is something that is debilitating. And when you keep being told that there's no answer to that pain, we can't fix your pain, the mindset that goes with that can be even more debilitating. Look, I want to ask you a question, Stacey. Do you think, I mean, this is a journey that you have started from the time that you were with that and the journey that you've gone. It's been a few years. Do you think that there's been any changes with the doctors, with the understanding of endometriosis today? Has there been an improvement? Do the doctors actually understand it and say something, or are they still brushing people off?
All right. So in my medical research, this is actually quite fascinating. In my medical research, I actually found a doctor called a functional medicine GP. And I go, what's a functional medicine GP? I've never heard of that. You know, we go to the normal GP, the normal doctor who've been trained at medical school using the same medical books that I found all the answers in, okay? Exact same books. And you spend 10 minutes in their room. A functional medicine GP is a trained medical doctor who is also trained in nutrition and functional medicine. And they ask the question, what is causing this symptom to appear? What is the root cause of this particular medical condition? And they heal it right at the root cause. So you spend anywhere from an hour and a half to 3 hours in their room in their consultation room on one consultation, right? And they ask every question under the sun, and they get right down deep into the root cause, and they heal every medical condition from the root cause. It is actually quite fascinating to be able to do this. I haven't been to a functional medicine GP. I just read about them in the medical books. I learned about them, and I've been following the functional medicine myself. So I've got to a point where if I get any type of illness, I go straight back to the medical books, do my own research, and go, oh, here's the root cause. Okay. And I just heal it myself.
Awesome.
Yes.
That's an interesting concept of the functional medical GP. I wonder how many we've got actually in Australia. It would be interesting to discover that.
Okay. So down in Melbourne, there's about 5 or 6 functional medicine GPs. Up here in Queensland, there's roughly about 7 or 8 functional medicine GPs. They are around. You do need to know what to look for. Like, people would never have known to look for a functional medicine GP, but definitely Google it and find one in your local area and make a booking. Go see them. It's really well worth it. Awesome. Absolutely well worth it.
Thank you for sharing, because that's something, look, we never know what we don't know, do we, to someone who has gone through what you've done and discovered some of these things. So what I love about your story mostly, not only that you fixed yourself, but what I really love about your story is that you asked questions and you didn't just take no for an answer. You went researching, you were curious, you looked outside the square and went to find out. You just didn't say, well, that's it. You pushed yourself. So I think that is something that people, not only is Stacey's story and journey awesome, and for those people who have got those issues with endometriosis, and it's a big thing around for females. I think what I want you to take out of what she's been sharing as well, is stop on this and go back, is the curiosity, the perseverance, the resilience, and the fact that step outside your comfort zone, ask questions, don't just take one answer for granted. If it's not gelling with what you're saying, think and for yourself and push outside the square and ask questions. That's what Stacey did, and has had an awesome result from that. Awesome result. what do I know? Because we talk about Get Nobody Seen Web TV, and we talk about standing up there and letting people know, and these are opportunities for people. Hey, people like you, if you've got something like Stacey you want to share, this is an opportunity for you. But I wanted to ask you, Stacey, how difficult has it been for you to reach people? What has worked for you? What has been a challenge for you?
The biggest challenge for me is going to a doctor, expecting to get help and getting no help at all, being told that I'm crazy in my head, being told that there's nothing wrong with me, when I clearly walk in crippling pain. I couldn't really walk at all, actually, and I clearly say there's something seriously wrong, right? That's been the biggest struggle. And what I learned from that is, like, just take personal responsibility, take matters into your own hands. The knowledge is out there, the books are out there, the learning is out there. You don't have to enroll yourself into a university degree to become a doctor. You just have to know where to get the information from. So I went straight to the medical schools, medical libraries, and borrowed medical books. I said, if I'm going to find answers, I've got to find it in the medical books. And that's exactly where I found it. And all the answers were right there. My advice is take personal responsibility for your own health, take personal responsibility for your own healing, right? And just keep reading, learn, use books. Books is what have the answers. It's all there.
Awesome, awesome. And now we're reaching to other people, which is what you're doing here, and wanting to reach that 176 million women with your Ripple Effects. What have you been doing to be able to reach out, to let people know who you are and what your story is about, and being able to reach them? What's been working for you there?
So what I've been doing, Trish, is exactly what I'm doing with you here. Just jump on podcasts, get on interviews, tell my story, share the story, share my journey, what I've been through. Because there'll be a woman out there listening to this today that goes, oh my God, I was in that pain. That's what the doctors have said to me. I need to do something about this. If this woman can heal herself, then I can heal myself. Sometimes it just takes one person to pave the way and shine the light down that dark tunnel and let people know that there is a glimmer of hope, okay? And every woman, if you are suffering from pain, any woman who is in pain, that is not normal. Pain is not normal, okay? There is nothing normal about pain. And if you are in pain, get help, seek help. If one doctor says no, go to another doctor, right? If you've been to 11 doctors like I do, then go read some medical books or do something different, okay? But we have to say goodbye to endometriosis pain forever. This is really important.
And I think what I'd like to pull out of that is that surgery is not always not the only option, because quite often with endometriosis, when the doctors do diagnose it, quite often the cure that they say is surgery. And they do surgery, and then you're left not being able to have children.
Yeah.
So it's not the only option. It may be, depending on what else is involved, but from what Stacey has shared, it isn't the only option. You should always explore all those options. I love that. Stacey, I think you shared your biggest challenge. What's your biggest lesson that you've learned? I think
my biggest lesson?
Yeah, you may have mentioned it, but let's just bring it in and focus on it. Your biggest lesson.
Never give up hope. Just don't take no for an answer. And if things aren't working, take personal responsibility for everything in your entire life. Don't rely on people around you. Rely on yourself. Rely on your own gut instinct and rely on your ability to research and read. Read books, read knowledge, get it into your head and understand what's going on out there.
Thank you. And I couldn't endorse that more. The information is there. Look, we've got so much resources nowadays that we can reach. And I love the fact to say, take personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Too many people just throw their hands up and don't take that responsibility. And I think your journey is a lesson of what actually can happen, the triumph you can have if you do take that personal responsibility and push boundaries. Stacey, thank you for being with us. Now, how can people contact you? Just one more time, they can contact you and reach out to you and hear more about your story.
All right. So the best way to contact me is go straight to the website, and that address is www.1000rippleeffects.com/endometriosis.
Awesome. And I would suggest people, if you, women out there, if you are feeling anything like what Stacey has shared with you, then have a look at her website. Have a look and contact her and see what you can do to help her reach 176 million women. See if you can help to be one of those people who can pass on that information and that ripple effect, which is what Stacey is all about. Thank you, Stacey, for being here with us. Absolutely fantastic journey and a story that, as I said, shows resilience and thinking outside the square and persistence. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you, Trish, for having me here. And thank you to all the listeners. Share the podcast, share this interview with everybody you know. Share it with a woman, share it with a man, because there'll be a man out there who has a wife that has endometriosis or a daughter, and he'll be standing around going, well, I don't know how to help them. Help this man, help the women out there, and say goodbye to endometriosis forever.
Awesome. And I will heartily endorse that. Thank you,
all
people. Right. Thank you to Stacey. You've been watching Get Known Be Seen Web TV. I'm your host, Trish Springsteen. Get Known Be Seen Web TV is an opportunity for people just like Stacey who have a message, a business or a book, something that they're really passionate about, and they've taken a deep breath and thought, I need to get this out. It's an opportunity for you to come on and share that message and start that ripple effect, just like Stacey has and how she shared it. It's also a place where I have people on who are experts in how to get known, be seen. And they come on and share their knowledge, their expertise on how you can stand up and how you can get your message out there. So if you would like to be a guest on my show, whether you're an expert or whether you're someone who has a message and wants to get out in there and be seen, just go to below, there's contacts. You can contact me and we can arrange for you to have an interview just like this. Now, people, if you would like to have me on your show, I would be happy to come on your podcast or to speak on your stage, whether it's live or in person, to share my story and to share my tips on how you can promote yourself, how you can market yourself, how you can be more visible. I'd be happy to come along and share with you how you can have the confidence and self-belief to step up and speak your story, just like Stacey has today. Thank you for watching. And one last thing, there is a lovely big button below here and it says subscribe. So I tell you, hit that subscribe button. By hitting that subscribe button, you'll always be advised when a new show has come up on Get Known Be Seen Web TV, and that will ensure you would never miss out on my awesome guests who come and have so many brilliant messages to share, just like Stacey has today. Thank you for watching, and be awesome and take personal responsibility for your health. And I endorse pain is not normal. So let's work on being pain-free. Bye for now.
Bye for now.